Alright fam, so I'm here to bring you a wrap up of what I've read since July. Don't worry, it was a lot in August, it was a lot in July and kind of August, but it wasn't a lot in September or October. So just work with me on this. Like my previous wrap up, I am going to be doing these in sections of like genre. So the sections you have to look forward to are contemporary fantasy, and adult fiction, because I just put all the adult books into one thing, even though they are vastly different genres. We're going with contemporary first, because that is what I read the most of, surprisingly. And the first contemporary I will be talking about is How to Be Remy Cameron by Julian Winters. I'm not going to talk too much about this because I feel like I talked about it, but I don't know. Anyway, this is about Remy Cameron, who has to write a paper about like who he is, and he has all these labels, and he's like, I don't know who I am, how to write a paper about it. Also, sorry if you can hear my fan in the background. I'm very hot and I don't feel like turning it off, so you might hear some fan noises. But anyway, Remy Cameron doesn't really know who he is, and this book is just about navigating labels and like which labels you want and which labels you might not want. It's cool. It's a good book. You should go read it. Next is a graphic novel, and that's Fence of Volume 4, Rivals. I don't know why it gets the Rivals tag when the first 3 volumes were just Volume 1, 2, and 3. But you know, whatever. You do you, Fence. I can't really talk about what happens in this because it's the 4th volume. But if you were curious, Fence is a sports contemporary about fencing. Surprise. And it's about this guy named Nicholas who is like an amateur fencer, but he like gets into this like private school on a scholarship for fencing. And yeah, it's cool. It's about shenanigans and fencing. It's good. Go read it. Next is a book you definitely need to go read because it's on my favorite shelf up there, and that's Darius the Great Deserves Better. Obviously you need to read Darius the Great Is Not Okay before you read this book. I'm just now realizing that. So if you haven't read Darius the Great Is Not Okay, go read that and then read this book because they're both excellent. This is a sequel to Darius the Great Is Not Okay. It doesn't, so in Darius the Great Is Not Okay, they go to Iran and, you know, meet his family, and it's all about like Persian culture and like trying to fit in and like dealing with depression, and it's a good book. This one, carries over the dealing with depression part, and there is a bit of Persian culture, because, you know, he's Persian, but it's not like the last book where they go to Iran, they're back in the United States. So this book is about him dealing with, like, other, like, more mundane things, but they're not mundane to him because, like, he's a teenager and everything is important to him. And I guess they're really not that mundane, but I don't want to tell you what they are because it's kind of, one of them is kind of a spoiler for Darius the Great Is Not Okay. So I'm not going to tell you what it is. I will tell you that this is infinitely more gayer than Darius the Great Is Not Okay. And it's great. You should go read it. I've rambled on enough. And the final contemporary that I read is Loveless by Alice Oseman. So Loveless is about an Aero Ace girl going to university for the first time and figuring out that she's Aero Ace. She doesn't really realize that she's Aero Ace, so she doesn't realize there's a word for it. She just thinks that, like, she's weird. Like, I feel like most asexual people do before they find out that the word asexual exists. So yeah, she's going to university and she meets this non-binary person. But he uses he, him pronouns throughout the book. Alice Oseman did address that, like, she wished she'd handled that a little better, which I appreciate, because he uses he, they pronouns, but the book never uses they, them pronouns for him, so it's fine. He's a great character. I loved him to death. But anyway, he's Ace, and so when Georgia, the main character's name is Georgia, meets him, she eventually finds out that asexuality is a thing and that aromanticism is a thing. She's like, wow, I don't know if I like this or not, because she thinks it means that she'll be alone forever, which we all know is not the case. But, to somebody just figuring things out, it can seem like a lot, especially because she really likes romance. Like, she really likes, like, romance stories and fan fiction, and she wants this great big romance, but she's aromantic. So, there's that whole struggle, and it's a good book. It's really good. I really liked the representation. I know some people had an issue with the representation because they're like, this isn't my experience, and I'm like, listen, dude, experiences differ, even within the same identity. Did you know that? Wow, we're all different people with different experiences. So, whatever. I think it's really well written. I appreciate Alice Oseman writing this, and it's good. It's real good. I don't know where to rank it in Alice Oseman's books. I don't want to say that I liked I Was Born for This more, because I'd have to do a reread of I Was Born for This and do a reread of this and then be like, okay, I like one over the other. They're kind of tied for first. So yeah, it's really good. You should go read it if it sounds interesting at all to you. So the first book in the fantasy category that I read was The Sound of Stars by Alicia Dow. This book is about a girl living, it's dual perspective actually. So it's about a girl living on Earth during an alien invasion, where they basically have rounded up the humans and they've experimented on some and they have plans to experiment on more. She runs this, they have banned books, and so she runs a secret library for people to get books. And so that's basically her. The other character is one of the aliens. So the aliens are weird. Like, they have natural, born aliens, and then they have lab-made aliens. I can't remember the Allori, I think is what they're called, actually. I'm just now remembering that. So the Allori that weren't lab-made are, treated a lot better than lab-made Allori. And so our other character is a lab-made Allori, and he's, dealing with the repercussions of what he's doing on Earth. And he also really likes music. It's real cute. And then they end up meeting and going on a road trip. I don't feel like that's a spoiler. So yeah, it's real good. You should read it because it's real good. Next, I read Gideon the Ninth, which if I had my e-reader, I would show you, but I didn't think to grab it. I got it on ebook, and I don't think it was the fact that it was an ebook that I DNF'd it. I think it was just the story. There was a lot of world building, but not world building. And then there was a lot of characters to keep track of. And so it was just, it was too much for me. I wasn't really enjoying it. It was also very slow and kind of boring. So I DNF'd it probably about 40% of the way through. I think. Maybe it was 30. I didn't get to the halfway point, I don't think. The next fantasy book I read was a reread, and that was Cemetery Boys by Aiden Thomas. I read this when it came out, September 1st. I started reading it physically, but then I decided to listen to the audiobook because the audiobook was on Scribd, and I hadn't listened to it. The audiobook narrator is also trans and Latinx themselves, so I thought that was a really nice touch. They do an amazing job. It's really good. So I highly recommend Cemetery Boys either in physical form or audiobook form. However you can get your hands on Cemetery Boys, you should do it, because it's amazing. And finally, I actually read this recently, is a short story in the Feverwake series called The Stars and Everything in Between. So it's set after the Electric Heir, and it's basically just Noam and Dara dealing with the aftermath of the Electric Heir. It's really good. I really enjoyed it. The next category is contemporary fantasy. So not a contemporary because it has fantastical elements in it, but it's a contemporary because it's set in contemporary times. The first is a middle grade called Ghost Squad. This actually takes place in St. Augustine, which I thought was real neat because I've been to St. Augustine and it's really cool. And it's just about like these two girls like going on a ghost hunt, and then there's like something weird going on in the town and they have to figure out what it is. It's just real cute, okay? It's just so good. It's so good. It's such a good middle grade. And I highly recommend it. And then the other contemporary fantasy that I read is called The Fascinators. I listened to it on audiobook, and I think I got it from the library. Or maybe I listened to it on Script. I can't remember. But I listened to it on audiobook, so luckily I didn't pay for it because I did not like it. It was fine in the beginning, but then it just kind of went weird places, and it was really rushed in the end, and I was just like, what are we doing? I don't like this. Essentially the plot is there's a magic club at school, and like they go to competitions and stuff, and like a new kid shows up to join the magic club, and like yeah, there's also like a queer romance in it. But, like, I don't even think that was handled very well. Like, it wasn't handled badly. It wasn't, like, bad representation. I just didn't like it. And so, yeah, I did not like The Fascinators, so I would not recommend it. But if it sounds really good to you, go for it. But it was pitched to me as, like, Raven Boys-esque. It is not Raven Boys-esque. I did not get any Raven Boys vibes from this book, so don't let that fool you. And then finally we have the adult books. Let's see if we can cram them all into 7 minutes. First is This Is How You Lose the Time War, and I figure you know what this is about, so I'm not going to explain it because I'm on a time crunch. It was really popular. It's like a sapphic time travel. Is it time travel? It's sci-fi. And yeah, it's just really good. Then I read How to Be a Movie Star by T.J. Klune. This is the sequel to How to Be a Normal Person. And in this book, we follow another demisexual character. His name is Hosea, but he goes by Josy. Don't know if it's pronounced Hosey or Josie, honestly. I pronounced it Josie in my head, then I was like, it's not Josiah, it's Hosea, isn't it? I don't know. So, Josie is an actor, and he ends up in this interesting movie that's filmed in a very familiar place if you've read the first book. I don't think you have needed to read the first book necessarily to read this one, but it definitely helps because it does take place after the first one. So, like, the characters and stuff are different, and if you don't know them, it might be a little weird. I don't know. It's really good. I recommend both How to Be a Normal Person and How to Be a Movie Star, so go read those. This one's a little chunky. How to Be a Normal Person is not chunky. So there you go. Next, I read Hither Page, which is a historical fiction romance. It's also a murder mystery. So it's set basically after World War II, and it's about this doctor, and he lives in this small town, and he's just trying to escape, you know, his PTSD, essentially. And then a murder happens, and this, like, investigator type spy person comes to town to investigate the murder, and they kind of fall in love, and it's really cute. It's a really good slow burn romance. And my only issue with this book was the weirdly written sex scene. it just was weirdly written and I didn't like it. But other than that, I really enjoyed this book, so go pick it up if you like. Then finally in this category, we have Boyfriend Material. Boyfriend Material is a fake dating contemporary, and Scribd thinks it's similar to The Foxhole Court. Let that sink in for a little bit. So basically, it's a fake dating contemporary. You got this guy who's like the son of a famous rock star, and he's like, he needs to get a better image, so he goes to this guy to like fake date him, and the other guy is like a lawyer essentially, but he's not called a lawyer because it takes place in the UK. It's called a barrister, I think. It's basically a lawyer though. And so they're fake dating, and it's real good, and you know, fake dating tropes happen, and it's real good. Yeah, it's real good. Go read that. I listened to it on audiobook as well. I don't know if I said "and finally." If I said "and finally," I'm wrong because I just finished Ravensong today. I'm gonna keep it short. Ravensong is a sequel to Wolfsong, and it's much better than Wolfsong, even though it has an endless, almost, it seems endless, smut scene. It's fine though. It's a good book. So if you liked Wolfsong, read Ravensong for sure. If you didn't like Wolfsong, give Ravensong a try, maybe on audiobook. I listened to the audiobook. They're real good. So anyway, those are all of the books I read. I managed to get this in. So, without further ado, I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one.